See, we're not constantly... Well, we're not always lunatics once the hours start to tick by on a Saturday night. Sometimes we have good conversations about agency in video games.
Yeah.
And how stupid it is. And how stupid people are when they're like, ugh, I wish I could make more decisions. Telltale.
See, Jeremy? Fucking...
Now, I don't think I was the most, how do I put this? I don't believe I made the most elegant of points, but then again, I've never put those thoughts in the words before. They've always just kind of percolated in my brain. It's just like a bunch of fine metals in the middle of some shitty rock that you need to smelt and poison the surrounding earth with. So here, we have one more character to get. It's GoGo. This is one that I would not blame anyone for missing. In order to get into this dungeon, you have to be swallowed by this fucking avocado.
I'm too ripe!
Yeah. Here's the thing, if it... So, this thing, all it does is swallows your party members, but you can kill it pretty easily. So if you encountered it naturally, you would just kill it, and then you get your party members back, and it wouldn't be a problem. But I imagine a lot of people are like, you know, I wonder what happens if this thing swallows my whole party. And so just out of curiosity, they just sat here and waited, and waited.
If this weird sand anus swallows us up.
This fucking anal dentata.
Trying to find a gif of Muscle Man and Starla making out.
Why is that relevant?
Because I'm trying to send it to Jamie to show my love.
Fair enough. That's a good relationship. I'm glad you two found each other.
Well, she said...
Way back when.
She's like, I hope you have a good rest of your night, love. We should do a nice romantic dinner tomorrow, whether at home or out. We're already pretty romantic, but you know. And then she's like, after your podcast, there's a second message. Because, you know, she knows that's important to me. And then she sends me a sticker of these two characters kissing. And then I found one of Starla and Muscle Man. Because I want to exclusively use regular show gifts whenever I send gifts to people.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Oh, this dungeon's... It's very brief, but there's a lot of frustration crammed into a very small space. So first there's this area with these fucking, I guess, jockeys? Don't they look like horse jockeys?
Yeah, what
right?
the hell is
And
that?
if they bump into you, they knock you off, and then you have to walk back up here.
It's like a platformer all of a sudden.
Yeah, better than Uncharted 4. That's for certain.
I was thinking about Uncharted 4 and specifically thinking about the crash DNA in it. And I'm just like, man.
You know what it is? It's this... Human beings are occasionally born with tails, or even baculum, or baculars, right? Sometimes, once in a while, a human being is born with a penis bone. Sometimes it happens, right? It's just that's still in our DNA sometimes, and if the right people bone and have a kid, oh, our kid has a dick bone. Uncharted 4, it's still got just some of that crash DNA, but it's not helping it survive.
Yeah.
And so it is what's the word? It's vestigial DNA, right? It's that fucked up part of our body that we don't need anymore, and crashed on me and dead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it game over dead?
That's game over dead.
Oh wow.
Fortunately, it continues you automatically at the save point just before this room though. So it's kind of pointless, but yeah, the platforming in the Uncharted series is purely vestigial. Naughty Dog, they had experience with it, but these new games they're making don't need it. Like, but it's still there, but it's weak because they don't need it. It's not. There's no selective pressure for it to be good. Crash Bandicoot, they're like, okay, we want to make a mascot platformer for the PlayStation because it's new, it's hot, it's blowing up. But we can't just make bullshit, right? Other people make bullshit, and it never goes anywhere. They had selective pressure, so when they made Crash Bandicoot, they gave it their all. They pushed the PlayStation to its absolute limits, and they made the platforming as tight as they could at the moment. And then as it went on, they're like, we gotta make it even better. We gotta make it even better. There was selective pressure there. Whereas with Uncharted, there's really no selective pressure. Not for the platforming, not for anything else either.
Like, I was thinking specifically of the wall climbing bits in Crash.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I'm just trying to think like why didn't they make it more fun and
Why didn't they
Uncharted?
just make it more? Yeah.
Like, why didn't they make
Yeah.
it more of like it's all it is? Like, you don't do anything. It's like, do you press the button at the right time?
And it's
do you jump to the right
exactly.
ledge? Like, why isn't it just
you don't do anything, and the limited agency that you if they had made it more automatic, it would have been more interesting because you wouldn't be fucking it up and feeling like it just feels bad to perform. Like, whereas if it was just like hold the action button and Drake does the thing, be like, okay, at least I can at least watch him do this cool action.
Like, think about Donkey Kong Country when you're in the barrels.
Yeah.
And you're blasting off, and it's basically plays itself, but you have a little bit of choice. So you can fuck it up, but then sometimes it is just a fun ride.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? They weren't even able to do that with Uncharted. It's not even that fun. It's not.
No, it's just what GoGo, by the way, gave us the mime job in Final Fantasy V. So they're back. Yeah, it doesn't even succeed at that. We very quickly ran into the very issue that I brought up with Uncharted 2, where I knew what I needed to jump toward. It's just Drake, for whatever reason, decided, you know what, this time, I'm not going to do it. So in one of the upcoming episodes, it'll be a little while before we get there, but Drake jumps at a bar to swing onto another bar. It's obvious that's where you need to go, but Drake just arbitrarily decides, you know what, not this time. Like, I'm just not gonna grab it.
It takes so fucking long to get through those climbing bits. Like, the platforming bits take even longer now that you have to wait for your brother to catch up to be like, let me give you a boost. You give me a boost, I'll give you a boost. And it just takes so fucking long. Like, the story and the visuals are obviously the big draw of that game, but it takes so fucking long to get to the story because you're just like doing this fucking shit, and then you're like, oh, finally some combat to get through this boring shit, and you're like, well, wait a minute, no, this is just boring in a different way.
This is garbage. So this is the Tower of Fanatics. This is where we found Strago. I have an economizer. Those take a long time to get. You have to kill a lot of brontosauruses to get them. But I don't have the jewel box. To get the jewel box, I have to go to the top of the Tower of Fanatics. I've never been able to do the Tower of Fanatics without the Moogle Charm to prevent enemy battles, because in the Tower of Fanatics, you can only use magic.
Oh.
I don't think you can even use items. You can't use special abilities, you can't use attacks. It's magic. Well, no, I think you can use items. But it's magic or nothing. And you have to go up 50 floors, and the enemies become very, very, very powerful as you go higher.
Shit.
And if you're trying to do it legitimately, by which I mean without the Moogle Charm, you will run out of mana, and you will get fucked.
That's kind of neat that that's what they did.
Yeah, it's a challenge. Like, if you want, even with the
safety bit.
Yeah, prevents instant death, I believe. And then there's a hidden switch right there, which opens a door on a lower floor. Even with the Moogle Charm, the boss at the top of this is still a son of a bitch. Like, they make you work for the jewel box.
Is there an opposite in this game where you go through something that enemies only take physical damage, or?
No, nothing that I can think of. Climb on a tower, climb on a tower.
Do not have to get a tiny bit more of that run.
Oh,
so
no,
a little splashy splash.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just a little splashy splash.
Oh, she seems in this envelope too. That's when I blew my nose.
Bees! I think it's so many bees in this envelope.
Are they still alive?
Oh god, they're pissed. They're so mad.
How do they get sick? I'm guessing when they have my deep cleaning, they just clean out a bunch of bacteria, and some of it just found its way. Life finds a way.
I'm like, man, I got sick. I'm like, wait a minute, I touch people's disgusting cell phones all day.
You should just be bathing in hand sanitizer.
Yeah. Well, I have alcohol and stuff for, cleaning shit.
Spider. Oh, I guess Glover is still in the mailbox then. I got a message saying Glover was delivered.
Glover. I'm the best game ever. I'm better than that game.
I'm better than Final Fantasy VII. I'm better than Tomb Raider. I'm better than... I was watching that commercial at work the other day because I don't do much at work. And the very last part of that commercial is just like some army dude with guns. And I looked at it and it's been 20 years and I still don't know what that's actually a parody of. It just seems to be... It seems to be just General Army Man, which is odd to me because the other two references are hyper-specific. It's clearly Cloud at the Temple of Ancients, or, you know, their version of Cloud at their version of the Temple of Ancients, and their version of Lara Croft, because those were two of the biggest games of '97. But the last one, it's just like, could you really not find a third? Could you not, like, what? Did you not have the balls to compare it to Crash Bandicoot?
No.
Like,
could you imagine how Naughty Dog and Crash Bandicoot at that time would have retaliated?
Because Glover came out in 1998, which meant Crash Bandicoot 2 had come out. The year before.
Crash had some big balls out of the gate.
Crash had giant balls out of the gate, and they were funny about it, so I'm fine with it in a way that I'm not fine with Sega's comparable marketing of the era, where it was just like making people who play Nintendo out to be pieces of shit or like kids, and it's like in console wars there's a moment where the people at Sega of America get a Super Nintendo shipped from Japan right after it had come out in that country, from Sega of Japan. It's like, here's the Super Nintendo, we got one, here's the new Super Mario World, right? They send it to them, and the guy in charge of Sega of America gives it to one of his employees. He's like, hey, go play this over the weekend, tell me what you think of Super Mario World. The guy comes back on Monday, he played the whole thing over the weekend. Hey, so how was it? He's like, you know,
what guy?
Yeah, this guy played what would go on to be one of the most cherished platformers and video games, period, of all time, and he's just like, it's alright.
He fucking loved it.
We got Sonic.
He fucking loved it, is what happened. He fucking cried.
But his boss was like, but he knew what his boss would want, and so he came back and was like, it's alright. Whereas these days I go back and I try to play Sonic, and I'm like, I don't know what I ever saw in the gameplay of this.
Oh.
This doesn't feel good.
It looks like trash. It sounds stupid. And I don't understand. Like, I'm like, Mario only has so many moves, but he feels much more powerful as a character. Sonic feels like a fragile little shit. It's like fragile little loose shit.
Here's the thing, that spooky ghost that climbed the tower, by the way, is this thing.
This Castlevania enemy.
It's actually, you can, all he does is cast magic, and you can absolutely, what's the word I'm looking for? Trivialize this fight by giving everyone a reflect ring. The only thing you need to do is make sure you have Life 3 cast on your party members, because when he dies, he casts Ultima, which will kill you. So if you have Life 3, which is auto life, you just get revived, and you're fine. But Mario, the big draw for Sonic over Mario, so it's like, oh, Sonic is so fast, like Mario's this slow little plumber. But then I go back and I play the Sonic games, and like, but you're always getting hit with shit, which makes you have to slow way the hell down. And
it takes a long time for Sonic to get up to speed. He's so slippery.
He's so slippery. In later games, I think starting with 2, they gave him like the spin dash, so he can get up to speed right away. But even then, you constantly have to slow down, because you'll get through a little like on-rails loop-de-loop bit or whatever, but then there'll be spikes or enemies in the way, and like, you gotta look out for that, so Sonic's gotta slow way the hell down, because those levels really aren't designed all that well to take advantage of his speed. And so he just kind of trudges through most of the time, whereas Mario, once you actually get, you know, they're designed in such a way that if you do know the general layout, you can fucking haul ass through them.
Yeah, Mario can like hover even without, you know, flying suits and shit. Just puts his little arms out like a anime run.
Yeah.
And you're barely touching the ground. You're just hopping and bouncing and
like I want to see a speed run of Sonic 2, because that's the Sonic that people always hold up, compared to a speed run of, say, Super Mario World. Or no, Super Mario Brothers 1. Right?
Yeah.
I just want to see how those compare in terms of how fast they're actually going from moment to moment to moment.
And then let's just let's compare the soundtrack to Super Mario World and Sonic 2.
Yeah.
One's a little bit better.
I think people really dig Sonic 2's soundtrack, but it's never done anything for me personally.
I just think, well, and just the sound quality. I mean, you can, remake that shit.
Yeah, exactly. The Sega had terrible, notoriously bad sound on it. The Sega Genesis, I should specify.
The sound design of the Super Mario World, everything about it is.
Oh, it's legendary.
Great.
It's when I was playing. When I got Super Mario Maker, I was really into it for about 6 months. When I was first playing it, I was looking so forward to getting access to the Super Mario World stages.
Yeah.
And tile set.
The sound.
Because every little sound in that game sticks with me. I remember when...
The cave echoes.
The cave echoes, the noise that certain enemies make.
Yeah,
I remember...
The door creak.
The door creak, yeah. I remember when I was 18... about 9 months or so before going in the military. I didn't have a Super Nintendo as a kid, so I was on eBay trying to find one because I had some money, not a lot, but enough to get a fucking Super Nintendo off of eBay. And I finally managed to win one after losing a few bids, and it had Super Mario World and all that, and I sat down and I started playing Super Mario World, and remember, this is in the days before YouTube. This is 2005. Right before YouTube came out.
Yeah.
So I had I couldn't just go Super Mario World Ghost House sounds.
Yeah.
Right? As soon as I booted it up and heard the opening fanfare, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
As soon as I started making Mario jump and bouncing on things and hearing those door creaks, every little sound effect.
Jump sound when the spin jump, and then when he lands on spike, that knocking sound.
Yeah, that lets you know you're safe.
God damn it!
Yeah, exactly. I was hearing all these noises that I hadn't heard. I was 18. I think the last time I'd actually played Super Mario World was when I think it was when we were still living in the duplex. So I must have been only 6 or 7. I hadn't heard these sounds in over a decade at the time, but as soon as I heard them, I just was relaxed. I was happy for a moment. I was just like, yeah, this is real nice. Those sounds are, and then I had that feeling again when I was playing Super Mario Maker, and these sounds are legendary.
Yeah.
I should just make a book called Legendary Shit in Video Games, just so I can get people to disagree with me.
It's just be I'm sure there are audio files you can listen to. That's just
certainly.
Relaxing fucking Mario noises.
So, video game ASMR, Super Mario World. So now we have all the Espers, we have the gang back together. We're gonna go kick Kefka in his dick.
Kefka, get ready for that dude
to
get pushed up inside
for Kefka's tower, you have to split into 3 parties. Just like the Phoenix Cave.
This is pretty cool right now.
It's pretty cool. And like I said, it's just a tower of garbage.